Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Scott Churchson alongside Mr. Ryan O'Regan, and welcome to Tales from the Film Set on Spanglish World Network, Zingo TV, channel 249, 250. Kindly remember to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android devices. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free. Zingo TV, lastly, is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Cool, that's done and out of the way. I'll go faster with that next time around. Davion may be showing up. I'm not sure yet, but next week we will have a new host. So I'll just let you know on that one. We got some
We're not
stuff.
replacing Day, are we?
Replacing you, actually.
Oh, that's fine. I could use a break.
I was like, replacing you, replacing me. Day's going to run on his own on this one.
That's completely fine. I can actually use a Tuesday and just sit in the air conditioning, which now here in the state of New Jersey, we need air conditioning.
Dude.
And of course, the one room where I do everything for Tales from the Film Set or any of the other shows that we have, I can't have an air conditioner in here, otherwise it will drown me out. So the air conditioning is all the way on the other side of the building with a door closed, so I feel none of it. But I'm here for you people.
And that's kind of what it is down here in this basement too. You know, this is a weird basement where I can't get an air conditioner inside the one of the windows here because the windows are too small. And one of those like portable ones are like $600, and I'm like, I'm not dropping that. It's a basement. I'll just deal.
At this point, we might as well just turn the summer programming into movie news, film experiences / cocktail mixing, and everyone just like bring their own big mug of a drink and drink it during the show.
Nice.
Because that is the only way we're all going to stay cool in here. Because I don't even think Davion has like an air conditioner in his room. He's just got all those Funkos on the wall. I don't think he has room.
Yeah, but see, it's also good for Zen because it builds mental toughness and fortitude inside when it's 110 degrees in your room.
If I want mental fortitude and toughness, I'll go to the movie theater where it's air conditioned.
Yes, it is. And speaking of movies, as we smoothly transition that, we had a new movie that basically came out this weekend, which was remarkably overdue for a sequel. I have not seen it, but I believe you have.
Yes, and did I not tell you when we last talked about this movie that it was going to do gangbusters, and you doubted it simply because of how long ago it had been since we had a sequel for it?
Yes.
And did I not tell you that it would speak to a certain age range of people?
I'm sorry.
There we go. That's what I want to hear. Come on.
I'm a cotton-headed ninny muggins, and I'm
there. That's fine. That's fine.
So.
Yes, Top Gun Maverick, biggest Memorial Day opening ever, biggest opening for Tom Cruise ever, and pretty much has set a landmark as far as like hitting the 100+ budget in its opening weekend, because it wasn't a comic book movie, it wasn't a Wizarding World movie. It was simply a sequel in the making that was long due for it to finally finish telling the story of how Maverick dealt with the trauma and the pain of losing Goose in the first movie. And
40 years later.
Yeah, and the remarkable thing about the movie, when you look at the ticket sales of everything, it made like 120, 130 million. And the 55% of the ticket holders that went and saw the movie over the weekend, 40 and over. A demographic that had not been really coming back to the movie theaters until this film.
Well, it's because basically, people that remember the first one are old enough to remember it. The kids are like, who, that guy from the Mission Impossible movies? He did an airplane movie, big whoop.
Well, that's the thing. Besides him and Val Kilmer, I mean, it was still a relatively fresh-faced cast. Miles Teller, I think, did a great job, as did many of the other actors that were pretty much part of this mission that was going on, where, mind you, all the young people that they brought back, they weren't students like in the first movie. They were pretty much graduates that were being brought back for a particular mission that Maverick was going to teach them. So you can't even say that there isn't like sequel bait now, because now if he does stay at the school, if he does stay at Top Gun, which if you've never seen the movie, you won't even know where Top Gun from. That's the name of the school. You just think it's like a fighter pilot thing, but no, that's the name of the school. I didn't realize that until I saw the first movie. I was like, what exactly is Top Gun? Is it like Afterburner? Is it like Black Hawk Down? I don't know what it means. Now it has so much more significance, especially after
Mhm.
watching the movie. And I thoroughly did enjoy it. It was simplistic, yes, but I do think that when you have a simplistic enough movie, if you have people that give a damn about it enough, it goes well. It's finally executed. There's still enough drama. There's still enough. I don't know who's going to live and who isn't because of the first film. And it pretty much wraps up the story from the first one. Even if you didn't think that there were any loose ends, this finds them and wraps them up.
So you're saying basically it's not bad.
It's better than not bad, especially
Mhm.
considering when you think about other movies that have had like long awaited sequels.
Mhm.
Look at Men in Black, when it tried to like bring back the franchise or tried to redo itself with Chris Hemsworth.
Mhm.
And
Which that worked
sometimes
real
some
well.
things are better left undone. Like having Day here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody.
so so
Uh,
I'm Cleveland.
day oh
They- oh,
7 p.m. come. Now we are whole.
yeah.
So,
Forgive me if you hear my voice kind of sound weird, but I'll tell you after the
you
show.
sound fine, you know,
how you gonna leave
Oh,
the
I do?
audience in suspense?
dude. You sound better than I do. Your voice doesn't crack like a prepubescent, 13-year-old like mine usually does.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're not the one with the throat that's like sweltering because your tonsils are too big to begin with, and the heat
Exactly.
isn't
They
doing
don't
any of
work.
your favors.
Dude, you're fine.
Yep. Perfect.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So, but yeah, surprisingly enough, I mean, I will own this mistake. I did not think a sequel 40 years after the fact, however hardcore 80s as it may have been, LJN game notwithstanding, that I believe it was LJN, that this was going to do well in the box office. I predicted it. I predicted it wrong. I own that one. I suck at life.
Well, obviously, it's going to be a question of how the second week plays out, but again, it was like right time, right place. It had that
Mhm.
nostalgia factor for the older folks. It had a bit of an America sort of feel from Memorial Day weekend, which if it played on 4th of July weekend, probably would have done just as good.
Mhm.
And again, you've got Tom Cruise when, back when he first did the movie, he was just part of that whole ragtag little youngsters pack with Anthony Edwards and Val Kilmer and all them, Meg Ryan and all that, Deborah Winger. Now, him being the star of the show, he pretty much pulled this movie along, not just from in front of the camera, but also all the stunts that he did, the actual
Mhm.
flying that he did, and his work behind the camera, and him and Christopher McQuarrie really going ahead and putting this story together that's, again, simplistic but well executed. And it's enough to make me want to be like, yeah, put me in a fighter pilot, I'll do some stunt flying. I'll learn.
now, now, here's the kicker. Do y'all see yourselves watching this in 4D?
Oh yeah.
Probably have
Yeah,
to.
it's gonna give me that feels back to like Six Flags Great Adventure back when they had like the 4D, the right stuff.
Oh, you talking about
Yes.
the right stuff?
It's gonna put me
Yes.
right back in that scene, man. Just go ahead and just like, let me strap onto the little hooks here on the arm handles and just like feel the G's. Whoo adrenaline.
But
Manly.
I think that's what you have to do in a movie like this. I didn't mention this, but if you set the Wayback Machine to I think what 2000 or 2001, there was Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, which we've never done. I was not a bad movie, but it bankrupted, Square Enix's film production. I mean, obviously, if you remember what it was for its time, CGI it was actually really pretty sharp. But I ended up seeing it in this little tiny theater with a screen that was like that big, a screen pretty much like the one right over here. And to this day, I still have regrets of seeing that movie on such a tiny little screen that I would almost basically, if I ever saw a movie like, Top Gun or anything like that again, going back to Martian or any of these movies, I would probably stab myself in the throat if I ever actually saw a movie like the new Top Gun movie in a little tiny theater like that. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I did watch it in Dolby, the Dolby theaters that they have at
Okay.
AMC.
Hmm.
Now, I could have gone for IMAX too, and definitely
Mhm.
there's like Screen X, I think that Regal has, where it's like the three
Mhm.
screens all next to each other, like
You're right.
really widen the thing out.
Mhm.
But that's the kind of the experience that you have to go for something like this. This was part of the thrill of it because it did feel like a thrill ride. And in order for it to do that, you have to put yourself in an environment where you are going to get lost with the sound, the vibration, the scenery. If you go and see it in a
Mhm.
regular theater, yeah, something may get lost in translation. But this is certainly a movie that's made for the theaters and not so much made for streaming.
Or your
Right.
couch. Yeah,
Right,
like
and not
or
to
your
say I
streaming, like
won't
you said.
watch
Yeah.
it again, especially if, Top Gun is still available on Netflix, I'll do the 2 movie, back to back, but something will be lost when that something like that happens, and it makes me look forward to other movies coming out this year, stuff like, Avatar: The Way of Water. Even though it
Mhm.
looks pansy as all hell compared to the first one, I'm still interested in going to like a high end theater and watching something like that because this is the kind of experience that warrants a theater going experience. Should every movie go to the theaters? Maybe not. But
Mhm.
if there's a reason to go and you show me that there's a reason worth it, I'll certainly try it out.
Yeah. Well, it's been 13 years, I think, since the last Avatar movie, right? It's 2009, right?
Right.
Yeah, 13 because it came out what
Mm.
around 2009.
Yeah, that's what I
Hmm.
thought. Yeah. So,
That
and
was
then
back
there's
when I was
what
starting
four?
stand up. Jeez.
Ooh, I was still selling life
It
insurance at
took
the
them
time.
that long to. It took them
Yeah,
that long for Avatar.
Yeah, it's
13
because
years on that one,
Cameron
and this.
is James Cameron does not do what James Cameron does because he's James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does for others to see that he is James Cameron.
So basically, James Cameron doesn't do for James Cameron. James Cameron does so other people can see James Cameron. James Cameroning James Cameron, done by James Cameron.
Cameron.
And Catastrophe done by James Cameron.
James.
James.
Cameron.
Yes. Cameron. Yes.
Oh, that South Park bit will never get old. Oh,
I was, I was just thinking about that. Him going down in the ocean to raise the bar up. Yeah, that was the Honey Boo Boo episode, I think.
yes.
Um,
Back when Cartman was
yes,
on
which
his little hover go around.
and back when
But
Honey Boo Boo was the worst reality show on television. Uh,
Yeah.
Cameron, I think you got to go back down
Why
in the
is
ocean
that?
again. You know.
uh,
Now, I do
speaking of
have a
boo
question
boos,
for you, but yes. What's that?
no, I'm speaking of boo boos. I
Oh,
was wondering how butthurt you guys may have gotten over Star Wars, since I know you two guys watched it and I didn't. So
um, oh, you mean Obi-Wan?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know it was Star Wars
It was
Celebration
okay.
this weekend, so a lot
It
of
was
stuff
Mm,
good.
came out.
It
Stuff
was
about
good.
but
Ahsoka,
they
stuff
forgot
about
about Bad Batch
Andor.
season 2. They were just like, oh yeah, we
Mm.
forgot about that. Um,
But yeah, so how bad or good was Obi-Wan?
Parkour. Parkour.
Pretty much, yeah.
Parkour.
You know, here's the thing
A
about
lot of
about
parkour,
Obi
huh?
Wan. The Obi Wan was sold on Ewan McGregor reprising the role. That is the only reason that
Exactly.
series was going to work. You have his charm, his charisma, his energy. And you can buy a lot from his character this way. I think, was it perfect? No. There's a couple things that you could look at and be like, and I don't want to spoil it in this case, but a couple things you could look at, like in the
Yeah.
chase scene in the second episode, where you're sort of like, really, you couldn't have gotten that one done easily enough.
Parkour.
Well, yes,
Parkour. Parkour.
parkour. Well, yeah, it wasn't bad.
That's all we're gonna say is parkour.
Yeah,
It wasn't bad. It was like
it's
Well,
the
I
only
mean,
word we're gonna say.
I bring it up facetiously, facetiously. Yes, that's it.
Jokingly.
Mostly because there is apparently also some drama that has stemmed from the episodes that premiered. Mostly in
So,
regards to the hate mail and hate tweets that the actress who played Riva has received
yeah.
since the premiere of the 2 episodes. And It isn't a new thing for Star Wars fandom. I mean, every fandom has like its toxicity, but between what the Star Wars fandom has done with Rosie Marie Tran, with John Boyega, with the guy who played Jar Jar, it's like, can you fanboys ever be satisfied in Star Wars? Can you?
Can I make a point to that?
Please.
Scott, go ahead.
I'm going to tinfoil hat a little bit here. I don't
Uh-oh.
know if it's necessarily as bad as it's made out to be. I think, are there, douchebag fans? Absolutely. I'm not going to argue that point. But when it comes right down to it, when it comes to Hollywood in general and clickbait articles do better when they talk about hate, not about when no one gives a crap. And I sometimes wonder with stuff like this if the hate is really as bad as it's made out to be, because now this is a topic that's everybody's talking about. But if the topic was nobody gives two craps about Reva, and the actress that played her, that does not get the clicks. Like, this hate is coming in on racial issues. This hate is coming in because they hate the character, so on and so forth. The actress sucks, all this kind of stuff. Not saying it doesn't happen. I just question how much is hate based to get the news and the name out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, based upon what the actress herself has responded to, it seems that some people have attacked her not so much for her acting in the role, which, could be mixed reviews at best from some people. I don't know what both of you felt about the character and how she portrayed, but
No,
it was
she was
only
fine.
2 out of 6 episodes. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know the full backstory, but I personally didn't have a problem. I didn't even know anybody who was complaining about it until, Star
Me
Wars
either.
Theory said something. So,
well, apparently some people have been attacking her online for
dude,
things outside of her acting. Mostly
people trash. It's the
her.
internet. The internet trashes everything.
Yes, but
Right.
it's amazing how this stuff always seems to come up when it comes to Star Wars. You rarely
Yeah.
ever hear about it when it comes to other franchises.
No, you do.
And I
You
don't know
totally
if
do.
that means that Star Wars fandom is just that much more rabid and passionate, maybe even zealot like. But
Dude,
it's enough to
people
make me
did the
want to
same
be
crap.
like, eh.
But see, Doctor Who, went down the same road, supposedly. Star Trek went down the same road on Paramount Plus. Okay, maybe it's a sci-fi, as I'm thinking about this on the top of my head here. But I mean, every TV show that's out there, the Connors, Home Economics, there's always going to be basically, and I really wish I could swear here, but shall we say poop hole people out there that are going to hate because the internet has those people that just do that.
Yeah.
But hate is
Mhm.
press
They
in this
they
kind
do
of case.
yeah, they do that for a living.
Well, let me ask you guys.
Dude,
They sit on
come
their
on.
they sit on their keyboard and be
People
like,
trolled me on AG. What's that? What's that?
Well,
I
that's
said,
what I was going to
people
ask. Did you
do
guys
this for
ever
a
end up
living.
getting any kind of like
Like,
hate
yeah.
from a role that you did that the hate had nothing to do with the role? They just didn't like you for whatever
Yes,
reason.
I have.
Yeah, you have that.
Okay.
You have
and you
that
know
a
what?
lot.
But here's
I
the
think-
thing. I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
okay. I may have the most experience on this because 11 million people watched me fail. So in my particular case, I did get people that trolled me. Fat, ugly, over the hill, sack of crap. Not using crap, pick something else. And people from all over. I mean, people that found my email address, people that found my phone number, dedicated assholes. I'm just going to throw it out there. Just deal with it. I did get that. But I did also get people that were like, that was kind of cool. You tried. You did okay. You tried, But I was in a place at that point. The negativity compounded 1,000 times harder than the positivity did. And that may be the same situation here. I don't know. Because I had people that did write me, strangers that were like, you know what? I give you credit. You didn't do well there. I thought it was kind of okay. But, you tried. I got people out there that were like, you sucked, go die. And I got both sides of it. But the negative stuff for me personally was magnified so much more in the moment because you're coming off the high of what you just did. I filmed that stuff back in March. I knew I failed back in March. They didn't air that episode until July. So I had 4 straight months of waiting on seeing what the public response is going to be on that. So I was prepped for July 7th. And July 7th, I was knowing that I was going to fail there. I was a little more predisposed in hindsight to focus on the negative stuff than the positive stuff because I went into it knowing I failed. Patterson, that Leroy, we're talking now. Leroy got past the first round. I should ask him his mentality was, knowing he filmed it a certain later. If he had a different mentality, I don't know. But I mean, you take the emotional level, you take the criticism on how you decide to take the criticism on the internet. Even now, I get trolled. Herb Herbansky, my little uplifting stories in a minute guy, he gets trolled. From people. It's a puppet on a green screen because that's just the internet being douchey internet. But you can't let it.
Dave, what about your experience?
You focus on what you can focus on. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, go ahead. No,
I'm off.
Scott is right. Scott is right, ladies and gentlemen. But it's just that's how it rolls. Like, you got people that is paid to hate you, regardless. Like, whether you look like somebody that's going to succeed, whether you were garbage, like garbage in general, you got people that get paid to troll on people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you getting paid good money, I'd like to see that money just to troll somebody. But realistically, this is the life that we live in. Hate, it draws more than satisfactory or encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
Happy times. Looking at a puppy is like, compared to watching excuse me for saying this reference, millions of people getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but realistically, we get entertained by millions of people getting killed, but something as cuddly as a puppy or someone doing something positive, we basically you get 100 views. But this one gets over 1 million. And it's a sad story because millions of people died.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you're a puppy hater.
No, what I'm saying is
you
our priorities is more negative than it is positive.
There's a Stephen Lynch song I remember that would be good for you.
Statistically, 77% of all thinking is negative, according to psychologists. Another phrase that I remember hearing from Jason Sehorn, who's cornerback for the Giants for a bunch of years and also the Rams. He said his mom gave me a great quote. My mom gave me a great quote. He said, what you do in life, 10% of the population will still always hate you. And life in general. I mean, if you...
Yeah, look at me.
What's wrong with...
No girlfriend.
What's wrong with you?
36. Yeah. Yeah.
At least we know how the day went.
That is nothing.
Dude, I was 40 when I met Robin.
I didn't. I brought it up.
I was broke, barely surviving, and living with my parents.
Shoot.
I mean, granted, I just got
bet not lose no job because your parents be like, "No, we're not helping you."
No, but I had.
The thing is, I understand
the first marriage when basically she came in. So.
They were being hate for hate's sake, and that's just how the internet is. But I just can't understand a fandom that. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for Disney, Star Wars would probably be dead in the water. After the prequels, there would be nothing. Every Star Wars fan should be great that Disney has gone ahead and decided to pump life back into this franchise. Even if they're retreading the same timeline from the Skywalker saga as many different ways as they can, they should be grateful that they have everything animated and live action that they do since the purchase. So to go ahead and throw any hate on anyone that they bring into this franchise in order to help flesh it out so we don't have to keep, putting Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford through the ringer should just be welcomed. You can not like someone acting in a role, fine, but to hate on them and call them out on their skin color, on their gender, on anything that has nothing to do with the acting that they put on screen, is childish. And they should
It
be
is.
ashamed to even
Let
consider
me ask
themselves fans because they are going ahead and putting
Sure.
out something that, for all intents and purposes, they never would have gotten anyways.
Let me ask you a question. I'm just curious to get both of your thoughts on this. We are continually inundated with the things that are wrong in this world. If I were Herb Herbansky, for an example, when I do research on good story, Huffington Post and a lot of the news outlets out there never put anything in their good news section. They leave it for months on end. As we are continually programmed for negative stuff, do you think as a society we take our escapism more seriously and put more stress on its success to help us escape the negativities of life?
I would say so, yeah. And mostly because we have more escapism than we ever had before. So now it feels like we can be picky choosy, even though we really shouldn't be.
Right.
You know,
Like,
it's
think
like
of
I
it like
said, I
this.
think the more that we
If
this whole
cable
conversation
never
got damn
happened,
serious.
if cable never happened, if streaming never happened, the internet was still a thing, but we still worked on dial-up. And to this day, we still had just the basic
Remember that.
channels on our little dial televisions. We had our CBS, our ABC, our NBC, our Fox, our whatever Channel 9 and Channel 11 happened to be, depending on your state. If all we had was that, I think we'd be almost a little bit more satisfied with what we got because we'd be
Oh,
lucky
we
that
were.
we got anything through that. But the
I was
fact is,
20 in 1995.
technology,
So
technology, streaming, internet, physical media versus digital, we have so many options. It almost feels like, we're King Midas. Everything we're touching is turning to gold. We can just go anywhere and have anything we want. But then we almost are starving and choking ourselves on it because it's gold and it's not necessarily sustainable.
Right. One thing I
Sorry,
noticed.
I wax
No,
poetic
no.
phraseology,
when
I
I get
love it.
irritated.
And I'm going to quote something.
That was brilliantly said.
Really?
My God.
Yeah. And I'm going to quote
Well,
something that Denzel Washington said. You never seen a funeral, what you call it, a hearse connects to it on U-Haul. You never see a hearse connects to a U-Haul.
now I
It was
kind of
some-
want to do that
That's probably
just to
true.
see
Yeah.
what happens.
But you get the idea where he going with this.
The only way, yeah. And weirdly enough, I went like a Ghostbusters reference. Like, it's for some reason they're just moving away with the XL1. No, I see exactly where you're
Now I'm
coming
just
from.
thinking of making like a macabre
When
short version movie of Convoy.
Oh.
Hearse and a U-Haul and turn into wacky
when
races.
in 1995, in 1995, 96,
Oh.
when we had dial-up, and it's all we had.
Mm.
The internet was a place. We never saw anything in the world like that. The ability to see images and basically instant communicate on the other side of the planet. Chat rooms. This was
AIM.
take it for granted because you don't know what it was with that. Yeah, instant messenger. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with internet back in like the early president. This is the situation I was in. But when it started to become more mainstream, everybody looked at it as this amazing thing that you can find out sports scores on the fly. You can send each other jokes through something called email. It was such an enlightening, exciting potential possibility. It's like I don't have to look it up in a gigantic Britannica or World Book to find out, the definition of a word. I can just say,
I'll tell
what
you the
is
story
boom?
of America online.
Dude,
Back
like
in
I
the
said,
day,
it
they
was
give everybody a
mind
kiss.
blowing. Yeah, well, you go into every 7-Eleven, you had 87 CDs you could just take. But it was, like I said, the amount of knowledge at your disposal. The world had never seen it, and it was an exciting possibility. And then, since the Taoism is life is simple, humanity complicates. And now we see the internet the way it is in 2022, and everyone hates each other. Ta-da! Ta-da!
Yeah, see, it's not so much that we've had
Yeah.
like scientific advancements past the internet and past streaming. It's now, instead of the advancement of the science, it's just everybody wants their piece of it. And the minute everyone has their plus network, and the minute everyone's like putting sequels and prequels and requels and trequels, something else that sounds like a Pokemon
Intervals,
out
yeah.
into theaters, you're going to have an overabundance. And before you know it, overabundance usually leads to spoilage.
Nicely said. Dude,
Sorry,
you are
that's
fired
all
today,
I'm going to
man.
say as far as like smart stuff.
Wow.
You're like, I'm going out on top.
Yeah, I was like, drop the mic.
Wait, I'll do it.
Dude, like I said.
Yeah, I was about to say, I have a mic here somewhere. Hold on.
Mic is right here. I dropped it.
I'm not going to drop a good mic. I'm going to drop one.
No,
that
Here.
Look at,
I got this one. So
go ahead.
yeah.
That's fine. That works.
So all right.
Speaking of advancements
It's
of science.
7:30 because I'm more.
Well, no, we definitely should go ahead and get into what Scott really wanted to gush about today. And that is
Yes.
probably the next big thing in science fiction. Orville.
Is it science fiction or
Yes.
is it more comedy?
You know, it's science fiction.
That's the funny thing about the Orville, and this is
Basically,
something me and JT always used to talk about. It's definitely the Star Trek that we should have been getting, other than the Star Trek that we were getting. Although with Brave
Yes.
New World, I would say
Yeah.
that's almost like
Hey, Scott,
maybe counter programming to it.
remember this?
It's probably the closest to classic Star Trek that we've gotten. Yeah. Before we got Discovery, and before we had Picard, and before we had Strange New Worlds, we had Orville, which was as next generation OG series, maybe even a little bit Deep Space Nine as we could have gotten, with a comedic take.
Yeah.
Right.
And after years of
here's the
production
thing.
hell,
It balanced when it needed to. Yeah. You know, this season's only going to be 11 episodes, but every episode is longer than the previous one. But Seth MacFarlane, who is a strong Star Trek fan, you know, this was his version of it. So, you know, Babylon 5 is to, you know, Star Trek as basically like Next Generation kind of a thing there. But it mixes well with the action-packed part of it, the drama part of it, the comedy part, and the plot development too. You know, I mean, there's a lot to it. This is why this is more like Star Trek than any of the stuff on Paramount Plus, because it feels much more like, and also in this case, not only is it more like it, a lot of the original writers from the Next Generation to Voyager and the directors and the cast members have come either as recurring roles or in cases directors directly. Jonathan Frakes has directed episodes of this. Bannon Braga, who wrote episodes for across multiple series and was the series showrunner for a while, he has directed episodes of the series as well. So it has the feel of everything from Next Generation to Voyager, those three series in there, because it's done by the same people, you know, and it's kind of done with what they wanted to do.
and to a sense, I would almost say it's probably a little bit more of a realistic view of how humanity would be in that type of future. Star Trek always had like a bit of a utopian kind of feel, where it's almost like everybody in Starfleet, everybody in the Federation was like the best part of humanity, or the best version of whatever alien race they were. Here in the Orville, it's like, yeah, people get drunk and are divorced and, you know, sleep around. It's like, it's still humanity. It feels like it's as real and as possible as you can get within a science fiction environment.
Hey Ryan. Hey,
it has
Scott.
optimism to it. What's that?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Yeah, so we don't have any crazy stuff like that in the Orville.
Don't you call my mother that, you said.
And you've got a slime monster, which is unfortunately voiced by the late Norm Macdonald.
Oh, God, yes. I'm sure there's going to be a caption in there saying, "Thank you, Norm Macdonald," because he recorded all his dialogue.
We know he's already in an episode. We've seen it in the trailer where he's talking in that spacesuit. So they're going to have him active. But it's been so many years. I don't know if he's filmed everything and they're just going to give him like a polite send-off, or what they're going to do with it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a tribute and a thank you in there. It's been 3 years since the last season, just like Stranger Things, it got overshadowed a lot by the fact that Obi-Wan, Stranger Things, and Top Gun. And then also after that, you have the new Jurassic World movie. So it's been sort of overshadowed, just being dropped on Hulu like it is. But oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I've missed that show. I'm excited to have that show back. And even when that has dramatic moments, there's still a feeling of optimism and hope, much like Star Trek, like say Next Generation had. And again, it had some of the cast members of those shows episodes. Marina Sirtis is in the season 2, season 3. So Counselor Troy is in there. And like I said, it has a nice feel. And only 11 episodes, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah.
But it's going to be episodic though, weekly, correct?
Oh yeah,
it's not going to be all out at once.
I mean, there
like
might be two-parters in there. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
by the way,
see,
for
I
the
think
record,
that's
for Stranger
where
Things,
Hulu excels because they definitely stick to the week by week momentum. It's worked for their series as far as what I've been able to see, as far as Only Murders in the Building and Shrill and other series that Hulu has been able to put out as an original. I hope that they stick to that format. I don't want to see all of it at once because, yes, you do have a whole summer laden with things now that Stranger Things is out, and we'll be getting the 2 final episodes come July. You've got Jurassic World. You've got other things that are coming down in the summer. But give me something during that summer session. That's what I always liked about the summer season. The summer filler stuff, like, say, Holy Moly. It's nice to go ahead and just cleanse the palate of everything that you've been feeling and watching and having to dredge with the whole season long, the whole television season. The summer stuff is just good, fun stuff. And yeah, maybe it comes one summer and you don't see it for the next, maybe you don't see it for the next 2. But summer stuff is just so inviting. Yeah. You can just jump in and lose consciousness and you don't have to care.
Unless the heat rises, and then you have to take your butt to the beach.
Dave, why you gotta be like
basically
that?
Your brain can shut off in other ways anyway. Yeah. Dude, not cool, man. Not cool. So, by the way, I just want to say, Ryan, I have not finished Stranger Things yet, so I don't know if you have. I prefer no spoilers right now.
Oh, I watched all that.
Wow.
I know you did, but I'm only on episode 5 right now, so I'm not finished yet. I know one thing that basically I inadvertently learned one thing that I didn't mean to learn. But yeah, I'm trying to stay spoiler free right now. I just kind of want to roll with the story, mention it. Do you know what the number 1 song on iTunes is right now? Song by Kate Bush. Yep. Run Up That Hill. It is the number 1 song on iTunes right now. Right. Yep, that's the one. It's number 1 on iTunes right now. Yeah. And
to be honest, my sister was a kid of the 80s. And you'd figure it would be a song that I probably would have heard of before. I had never heard of this song until the series, which I find very fascinating because there wasn't a lot of pop hits that came from like people other than Madonna or Michael Jackson or any of the big names. So you'd figure if it was a hit, if it was a one-hit wonder, you still heard about it because the music scene wasn't as flush as it is now. But yeah, never heard of this song in my life. Never on the radio, never in any other television.
What's the name of the song?
So I'm happy for Kate Bush. Don't even know who she is, but she looks good on the cover.
Wow, it's number 1 on
Here's
Spotify.
The thing. That was, yeah, I know because it's that big. It surprised me. The musician Bush that I knew from the 80s was Stan Bush, though, because Stan Bush was the one that did the songs for like Transformers, Bloodsport, for Kickboxer. A lot of the 80s movies that I grew up with, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, the Transformers movies, a lot of that stuff was a lot of the montage songs from that era were so that I knew that Bush.
Gotta have a montage,
dude. Yeah, a lot of it was his. Like I said, I mean, all the stuff from the Kickboxer, Transformers, the songs from Transformers when they were all of the ones that I collected for 3 years. One-year-old kid in the theater, excited to see a Transformers movie, and then seeing all my favorite characters die in the first half an hour.
Wait, wrong way.
First DVD I ever owned.
Dude, it got the outrage was so bad. I don't know if you knew about this, but that's Stan Bush right there. That song is Stan Bush. The outrage was so bad that they had to change the ending to the G.I. Joe movie and have Duke survive, even though he got impaled directly into the chest, bleeding out, had his his final speech, and then closed his eyes. And they're like, he lapsed into a coma. They're in the middle of a desert. Somehow they just knew he was in a coma.
Well, I mean, it was only a snake. I mean,
Yeah,
but wasn't that what they did?
Impaled directly in the chest. Blood. What's that?
Wasn't that like in the other G.I. Joe movie? Duke dies in the sequel.
Duke was
there are
supposed to
few
die.
people that died in G.I. Joe the movie, then died in Transformers the movie. So many out of
No, I'm talking about the live action. They gave it to The Rock.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's different. That's live
Or
action. That's The Rock,
Ironhide, who was a staple. Just gunned down.
I collected them all. I'm a child of the '80s. I remember. And we're so excited, and this was pre internet, obviously pre-internet spoilage. So none of us had any idea what we were in for. We were just excited to see all of them on the big screen there. There's a new threat, and it's voiced by Orson Welles from Welles, but my parents did. So it was an exciting moment. And then they all die, and then Optimus dies. At the and it's like Optimus basically thanks everyone, and then he dies. Oh, you got all these 5-year-old, 10-year-old kids. They're just sitting there, just going. And it takes the wind out of the sails of the rest of the movie.
Animated movies hit hard. It was the dark days. It was the 80s. Yes. Black Cauldron era.
Dude,
so
well, I mean, also in that era.
Is Stan Bush related to Kate Bush?
No, there's no relation between those Bushes or George.
I thought you were...
Now, and another news,
there's a lot of Bush back in the
about deaths. Is this like maybe Kevin Smith was going with the He-Man Masters of the Universe on Netflix?
Yes. Until he switched the ending around because because in the end of that it's just randomly it's like, oh, he's alive and holding hands with Tila, and everyone was kind of like, well, that was unplanned. I don't know. Supposedly there was some talk that switched
the He-Man stuff because we know he'll start rolling.
Nope, nope. I did my bid on that. I don't need to do another bid on that. The horse is already dead. I don't need to keep beating it. You did, however, want to talk about another character that
supposedly is going to have Noah Centineo from To All the Boys I Loved Before, I think, as Prince Adam. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
It seems a bit much, but they also cast him for Black Adam as Adam Smash.
Wait. Too many people, too many kicks. I mean, too many cooks, too many chefs in the kitchen.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
All right.
Too many cooks.
Scott.
Yes. I was going to say there's another movie centering around a dead character that Ryan wanted to talk about. A Ghost with the Most? 2?
Oh, yes. So apparently there is starring
Yes, starring Joyce. The first one had Joyce Byers, the former president, and also Jack Donaghy.
Yes. Classic casting. But
yes,
because of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial and all of its ridiculousness, it seems that Johnny is possibly going to be cast in this sequel. So you're going to have Johnny Depp in relatively a Tim Burton project. No surprise there. But, I mean, it becomes one of those things. I think Scott said it, as Kevin Smith said. Didn't we say all that need to be said in the first movie? I would venture no.
Yep.
Simply because, if nothing else, the animated series helped show that there was more that could be done with the world of Beetlejuice than was originally shown in the movie. Especially
Mhm.
considering that in the
Mhm.
movie we saw Beetlejuice played by Michael Keaton as an antagonist, an anti-hero in a
Mhm.
sense. Whereas with the animated series, he was a protagonist, if even a bit of a scamp to the cartoon Lydia in the show. So
Mhm.
there does have this little bit of room about after all this time, considering he's dead, and certainly Winona Ryder has gone ahead and worked
Mhm.
herself up quite the repertoire with Stranger Things and doing things of a more supernatural nature. There is a story that can be told. Now, obviously, I don't think you're going to get like Alec Baldwin or Gina Davis back into it, but I could definitely
Alec
see
Baldwin, I would say don't.
those two clicking again. As for Johnny Depp,
Uh,
put him in any kind of wacky costume, he'll do it. I just, I don't know how
Steph's
true
comment
it
basically.
is.
I'm not sure if I'm excited about or scared about the. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, this is like the
I don't
first
know.
big
I mean,
movie role that we're hearing for Johnny since the trial. I mean, we've heard a lot about like Amber Heard losing stuff and Aquaman losing screen time. This that project not
mhm.
getting off the ground, and a lot of it's leaning towards Johnny. And since he feels he'll never be in Pirates ever again, let's give him another franchise. Fine by me.
Mhm. Well, he had
And again,
Fantastic Beasts.
Tim Burton, he works well with Tim Burton. Tim Burton keeps him employed.
Mhm.
But I just hope this isn't some sort of like cash grab sort of thing now. Because I would be perfectly fine with them really telling a
Right.
story, especially with the Michael Keaton bump that he's had in his career in the last few years. I just don't want this to
Mhm.
make it more of a mockery. I don't want this to end up being like a Mordecai in a sense, you know?
Mhm. I
But
don't know. I
again,
mean,
since
again,
Top Gun was able to be done, this could be done too. There's a lot of 80s movies that could
there.
probably use the sequel.
Well, I mean, in some cases, I think it's okay. I mean, Top Gun, you want to do a sequel, all right, fine. But if you start going into certain things like, say, Never Ending Story, I think some people would have a problem with that one. Because no, for us, Never Ending Story was iconic. I mean, Stranger Things has mentioned the
Yeah.
song. I mean, by Lamar. Yeah, turn around. Okay, what you say? That's so classic to 80s people that rebooting that, I think, would be annoying. Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons, which, by the way, does have a new movie coming out next year, that is okay. That one in
'Cause you
2000
got
was so bad. It was one. It fell into the so bad it's good.
are you talking about when
Hmm?
Marlon Wayans dies?
That's the one. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that one.
And Jeremy Irons deliberately being like, I'm getting paid for this. I'm just going to go over the top as much as I can. And by God, Jeremy Irons just steals it with how bad that movie is and how bad his dialogue is. But he's just like, screw it, I'm making money anyway.
Yeah,
But
see, I
yeah,
have
there's
no
I forget
problem
who
with
was.
reboots. I have no problem with reboots if the franchise itself has been spoiled, though, because then it needs a fresh
Mhm.
coat of paint.
Mhm.
Never-ending Story, as good as the first one was, you also had those two sequels that came out that kind of like, you know, never-endingly shat the bed with its lower use of animatronics and CGI and Jack Black. You know,
Mhm.
Well, here's the weird thing: the second movie was actually the second half of the Never Ending Story book. Most people
Mm.
don't realize that was actually the second part of it. Never Ending Story 3 was different. The one with Jack Black in it. That doesn't that was fake. But the second one with Bastion losing his memory, that was in the second half of the book. Nobody ever knows that.
yeah, but you could say the same thing about Return to Oz and how that was a continuation of Wizard of Oz, and anything that's been
Actually, it
Oz
was.
oriented has been separate books in the whole Oz series.
Right.
Frank
Well,
Lloyd Baum did like 14 Oz books.
Right.
So,
That's the thing. It's
anyway,
like
sorry.
it's hard to talk about like remaking a movie if the original movie is iconic and has not been spoiled in any way, shape,
Mhm.
or form since. It's harder to say, oh, we can't do anything with that when, think of it like a soup. If you've already gone ahead and put too much in the soup and it tastes rancid, too many ingredients, too many sequels, too many
yeah.
things, toss it all out, start fresh. Don't keep going to the same
Mhm.
cauldron and drinking up the same stuff. But if you make something and it's so good, you don't want to touch it, you don't want to add anything to it, you just want to go ahead and keep on sampling little bits until almost so much time has gone by that you have to do something because it's all done. But it was so perfect the way it was, you can't copy that recipe again. Sorry, I'm hungry. So
okay. No, I know. I got a pizza upstairs waiting for me. You know, actually, what was a reboot?
but you get what I'm saying. Like, you know,
nobody knew what.
yeah. But, I mean, there's certain properties
Wizard of
that I
Oz.
think you can
Wait,
play
what?
off of, and then there's certain ones that are like,
The Wizard
just
of Oz
leave it
with
alone.
Judy Garland was a reboot.
Right, which I think the way with Top Gun, just to go back to it for a sec, I think the reason Top Gun worked so
Yeah, the
well
one
with
with Judy
making a
Gar-
sequel this late in the game isn't because the first one was so perfect, but because the first one was so good on its own and had been satirized just as well. How many times do you remember people talking about, I feel the need for speed, you know, stuff from Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2, you know, there's so many gaffes that have come from that movie. Danger Zone, yes, Kenny Loggins. It's been put into the zeitgeist of cinema history so much that you start to think, okay, how can we expand on the story? And you can do it well. What day? What? You're saying no. Why?
No, I'm not
we
saying
got
no.
D, go ahead.
For
We
next
got to
episode.
You're
wrap this
going
up.
like
Do you have
this,
anything?
like, you know, what was that?
Wait.
What was that? Akimbe Mutombo? Like, no.
No. Nah, but
wrong
next
show,
episode,
but
why don't we?
keep referencing that.
Next episode, we should talk about what films should have a sequel coming out, or should be a sequel coming out, or something.
So,
Okay, but what are the
basically,
parameters?
So movies that based it actually. All right. So,
I would say
all right. So we'll
discuss that. Yeah, I would say
Cool.
movies that
All
have
right.
never had a sequel, nothing
should.
else to expand on the franchise, and has to at least be 25 years old or longer.
Okay.
Okay.
So work up your list.
Okay.
All of you watching, if you have any suggestions, go ahead, put them in the comments, email them to us. Let us know what movie in those parameters you would want to see a sequel to. And we'll debate on still whether or not any of them make sense.
No.
Titanic.
God, no.
They only have 3 animated
No.
films on that.
No.
Including the one with the rapping dog. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. That's Ryan. That's Davion. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. on tomorrow on Tales from the Film Set. Bad movie beatdown. Dragon Ball Evolution for realsies. God, I can't.
A movie that does not need a sequel.
Anyway, yes, that's.
I got my PlayStation 3 ready.
It almost had one though. It's set up to be discussed.
Just remember, we saved this for you, Dave.
Have a good night, everybody.
We could have watched it last week and just gotten over and done with, but no, we're waiting because we care about you.
No, we care about you.
Yes.
So
we care about watching you suffer. So anyway, thanks as always. Take care.
We're out.
God.